What's up guys, my name is Colin and today I'm going to be talking to you about my overall experience at the tactical games. This was my first tactical games and I signed up for women's intermediate and I just so happened to win it. So that was pretty awesome. So I want to talk to you guys about what I did to train for it, what I did the week of and during the event as well. So some suggestions for you if you're wanting to get into the tactical games that might help out along the way. So here we go. So I have 5 pre-match training tips that I would suggest for anyone wanting to get into the tactical games. Number 1 is going to be training. How are you training? Me personally, I was doing CrossFit and my CrossFit gym also offers a tactical class. So I was doing that. I was doing workouts in the backyard. I was doing running, interval running, things like that. My training schedule was 4 to 5 times a week, and this was for like main lifts, for metabolic conditioning, and for cardio. I was doing running probably 2 to 3 times a week. What I would suggest doing, and this is what I did, is main lifts, and that's pull-ups, squats, deadlifts, presses, overhead presses, and then metabolic conditioning, which included movements like farmer's carries or sandbag to shoulder, rope climbs, wall climbs, and those two right there, rope climbs and wall climbs, you have to make sure you get down, because at the tactical games they might throw them in there, and if you cannot do those, you cannot move on to your firing sequence. And they do fitness, then firing, then fitness, then firing. So if you can't get past that first fitness stage with rope climbs or wall climbs, there's no way you're getting down to the firing stage, and it's going to be hard for you to get any points. So make sure you really get those down. The next thing is cardio. So I was doing consistent miles, making sure that my miles were consistent, probably 2.5 to 3 miles. At the tactical games, you can do anywhere from, I think, 3 to 5, maybe more than that, but that's what I prepared for. And then I was also doing interval running. So I would run for, say, a minute and then break for 30 seconds, run for a minute, break for 30 seconds. I was also doing that on the bike and the rower as well. Number 2, train heavier. Make sure that you are training everything heavier. In my tactical class and my CrossFit classes, I was making sure that my weights were much heavier than what I would possibly doing in the games. And in my games, my sandbags were 40 pounds, 60 pounds, and 80 pounds. I was training like I was gonna be using the elite weights. I can't do those effectively and safely, but I was definitely trying to use them or use weights close to them, so that whenever I got to the games, the sandbags I was supposed to be using for intermediate women's were pretty easy, or at least came naturally to me. My plate carrier actually was 15 pounds or a little bit over when I first started training with it. That was not on purpose. I used my fiance's plates, which were ceramic plates, and they were just much heavier. I didn't have regular weight plates yet. In the women's division, plate carrier is supposed to be 12 pounds, and then for the men, it's supposed to be 15. So I was training with a heavier plate carrier and realized, you know, this is actually probably going to be super beneficial for me, to where whenever I get there, it's going to be way easier, and that's exactly what it did. So starting out wearing a heavier plate carrier turned into, wait, this is probably a good idea, and then I felt so good at the games. It just felt like it was part of me. I wore that thing all the time. I wore it through all of my CrossFit and tactical classes. I wore it while I worked out outside. I wore it while I walked the dogs. I was constantly wearing it because I wanted it to feel like it was part of me. So make sure that you wear it all the time, and make sure that you train heavier in every single thing you do, so that when you get to the games, you feel confident in your weights. All right, number 3 is breath work. And I made a video about this, but this is so important. This is where you're going to be able to find those recovery times is through your breath work. So in each workout, make sure you steady your breath. My PT said that you have 4 different gears. Your first gear is breathing through your nose, nice and steady, a normal breath. Your second gear is breathing through your nose, but it's a little bit faster. So it's a... Your third gear is breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. So it's a... Then your fourth gear is you're just mouth breathing. So whenever you're at the games, you want to be able to stay steady, breathe through your nose, push your tongue to the roof of your mouth, and just breathe. So I practice that through all of my workouts, and I practice that with my shooting as well. So breath work is absolutely huge. I would also do breath work before I went to sleep at night to kind of calm my body down. Number 4 is stretching, mobility, rest, recovery techniques. So I was doing stretching every morning, stretching that was specific for me and my body, what I needed at that time. I was doing different exercises that my PT gave me to strengthen my foundation. I don't have a very strong foundation. If you have seen any of my videos, I have a fully fused spine, so I have to really protect that, and sometimes I rely on that only. I work on stabilizing it and strengthening my entire foundation so that I don't get hurt later on. Recovery techniques are things like doing cold plunges or sauna or red light therapy, things like that that are going to help my body heal and just relax and chill out. I was doing a lot of massage therapy as well. My sports massage therapist, she was absolutely amazing. She really digs in there, gets all my knots out. It helps out a lot. It helps out with my mobility, and it helps out a lot with my range of motion. Rest. Make sure you're getting enough sleep. You're getting a good amount of sleep that's right for you. You'll know, how much sleep do I need? Well, when do you feel good? How many hours do you get a night to where you feel really good the next day? So make sure you prioritize sleep. Number 5 is your shooting. How much are you dry firing? How much are you doing live fire? I was doing dry fire every day to every other day, all up until the games. I was also seeing my coach every week, once a week, and doing live fire techniques and then working with him on accuracy and transitions. I also do live fire by doing USPSA matches as well. We do maybe 1 every other week to every week, and that helped out a lot too. So make sure you're getting in those times where you're doing a lot of dry fire and you're doing some live fire as much as possible, but your dry firing is going to be the best because that's where you can practice with your rifle and pistol and get into certain positions and work on your accuracy as well. Tips for the week of the tactical games. So that week I did absolutely nothing. I wanted to go work out a few times and my fiance was like, don't do it, just rest. And so I listened and it was totally worth it. He was absolutely right. So I rested the whole week. I didn't work out at all. If I did anything, it was a little bit of biking to loosen up my hips, some stretching, mobilizing. I did stretches every single morning and I just relaxed. It's almost like whenever you go on a week-long vacation and you come back to your first workout and you feel incredible. That's what that did for me, and I felt great on my first day of the tactical games because I just rested that entire week. I prioritized my sleep, I prioritized my hydration, my eating, my recovery, all of that. So make sure you just chill, relax, rest up before that weekend. So tips for day 1 of the tactical games. I would say the main one is make sure
Don't suck.
Don't suck. I would say the main one is make sure you're organized. That's the biggest one. Make sure you have everything in your kit together the night before and then double check the morning of. Everything needs to be organized because the last thing you want to do, which is exactly what I did, is be rushing to a stage and not know where things are. And that goes into making sure that you're organized while you're at the games. We had a wagon, a cart, and we put all our stuff in it. But every once in a while, like when I got done with a stage, I would just throw everything in there. But then the next stage, I was like, crap, where's all my stuff at? And so we'd be scrambling. So make sure you have a good system for organization set in place so that you know where everything's at so that you're not freaking out at the last second trying to figure out where your stuff is at. Number 2, make sure that you stay hydrated. This kind of sucks because you feel like you have to pee the whole time, but it's super helpful. You don't get dizzy. It was really hot that day. And even if it's not hot outside, you're still working, you're still watching the events, your nerves are kicking in, you're a little anxious, and staying hydrated is gonna help keep your brain turned on and keep you focused. Also, make sure you eat. A few things that we brought that helped and were just quick. I made wraps for us the night before, and then we had these little smoothie packs that I get from Costco. They were so good. It was actually our first time trying them, but they were awesome. I would also suggest like little applesauce packets, those ones that have the little drinking spout. And then we had meat sticks, we had protein shakes, things like that. Things that are just quick and easy to grab and eat on the go. And then whenever you're in your events in each stage, the biggest thing for me was finding my breath in each stage and finding how hard do I need to work to maintain my breath, and I can recover quickly to then go into my firing sequence and still stay accurate. So you do your fitness portion, then you go into your firing sequence, and in that transition is where I would find my breath. I would kind of pace myself here and go as fast as I could with still maintaining a good pace and good breath. And then I would find my breath through the transition and go into the firing sequence, take a big breath, calm myself down, and start shooting. And I know that's way more technical and analytical, but it helped out a lot. And the last thing, whenever you're done for the day and you go home and you're just chilling, have a good meal. Have a meal that's gonna support all of the work that you did for the day, and that's gonna help with the next day. So we chose spaghetti with meat sauce, and it was so good because those carbs really helped recover from that day and support going into the next day, support that energy. So have a really good meal that night. Tips for day 2 are honestly exactly the same as day 1. Making sure you're staying organized, staying hydrated, eating, working on your breath in your events and in between events, and making sure you're having a good meal that night. But also my last tip for day 2 is just celebrating. No matter if you won or not, celebrate how much work you did and how much work you put into it, that you got there, that you performed, and just have a good time. Whether you're with friends or family or your significant other, or even by yourself, just get a good meal that night. Grab some ice cream. That's what we did. Have a drink. Just chill, but celebrate that day because you worked really hard that weekend. I think my favorite part about the tactical games were actually the events themselves. I had a really good time. I like doing things where I'm doing some stuff over here, then going over here, and it's just a lot going on that makes me stay focused, and I really, really enjoyed that. My main goals were just to have a lot of fun and stay safe and don't get hurt and don't hurt anyone else, and I had the absolute best time and I succeeded in all of those goals. I also love that I got to meet so many new people and so many people that I'll get to see in future games. Things that I would change about my gear or my kit are, I have a 1:6 power optic on my rifle, and I would actually change to a 1:10 because those long distance shooting portions were a little bit difficult with a 1:6, and with a 1:10 I'll be able to see everything a little bit clearer. With our event that was 200 yards, the targets they have are very, very hard to see, and so with a 1:10 optic I probably would have been able to see those a lot better and been able to see how I needed to adjust or where my hold should be. Other than that, I don't really have anything else I think I would change. I would get more comfortable with my belt setup. I didn't get to work with my battle belt as much beforehand, so I know I would want to work with that a lot more. I might try to shoot a different pistol. My Glock is my trusty steed and I absolutely love it. I have a Glock 34 and it's just been the best. It's been very reliable, but I kind of want to try something new, so we'll see what I do next time. But my optic is really the only other thing I would change. Gear wise, If you're wanting to add different things on, these are the things that they don't tell you. I actually got these wrist like sweatbands that I pulled up to my elbows so that when I went prone, it was protecting my elbows. I'm kind of a big baby and I would rather not get hurt, but it did help with that, and it helped with other events as well, like the wall climbs, so I didn't scrape up my arms. I also had knee sleeves on. They don't suggest those. They suggest like knee pads, but they worked as knee pads so that whenever I was kneeling with my rifle, my knees were comfortable, but I could also pull it down to my shins when I was doing rope climbs. So knee sleeves and those sweatbands are absolutely awesome. If you can get a headband, definitely get a headband. It kept the sweat out of my eyes all day long. Those are the 3 pieces I would say add into your kit if you don't already have those. I want to send another shout out to all of my sponsors. Fieldcraft Survival and Mike Glover, thank you so much for believing in me. Thank you for providing such incredible training classes, survival classes, overall preparedness classes. You guys are an awesome company to work with, and I appreciate all of your support. HB Industries, thank you for making incredible products and just being awesome people. And then Tack Resist, thank you for creating an innovative product that really helped me with my stabilization with my pistol and my rifle so that I could maintain a good position at the tactical games and shoot accurately. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of you. So that's my overall experience of the tactical games and what I did before, what I did during, things I might change, and hopefully you guys got some good tips from this that you can use if you're looking to go into the tactical games as well. It's an awesome experience. You'll have so much fun. Just go in with an open mind and have a good time. Train really, really hard. It will benefit you. That's all it'll do. It'll make you a better competitor. So if you guys have any more questions, feel free to comment below, shoot me a message, just let me know, and I would love to answer those for you. But other than that, thank you so much for watching these videos. I will be posting more soon, and I'll be posting my events and kind of talking about those as well. I look forward to doing another games here in the near future. As always, wish me luck. So that week of, I would,
What's going on out there?
I'm making a video of it.
Where'd we get a tripod?
That's from my light ring.
Oh.
Okay, well, you're on the video now. Really resting and really recovering, just calming yourself down, calming your mind down, and getting prepared for the weekend. I don't know, you might have to heat it up. Before the tactical games, they typically have a day called tactical tune-up. I would highly suggest doing this. Kirk Holmer is the teacher of Kirk Holmer is the instructor of that class, and it's amazing. There's so much knowledge wrapped into one class. There's so much knowledge wrapped into one class. Corell, this guy, my fiance, who's making all this noise, was like, this is like a fire hose of information for you right now, which it was. There was just so much going on, but it was so good because it helped me during the event.
You're gonna have to redo that. I don't know why you're still recording.
Why?
You can't be in there.
Why not?
There's some good ass water.
I'm gonna go ahead and pause this until you're... Every time I do a video, the dogs start drinking water. Or you come in and slam the microwave.
No,